There is a secret about the lunar eclipse that everyone deserves to know, but it requires courage. Can you bear the truth that will change your life forever? On a night of a lunar eclipse, Zayan woke from a strange dream. He saw himself in the middle of a dense jungle with a single light shining down on an ancient book. A voice echoed in his ears. The time has come to write your destiny. The next morning, Zayan found a note on his doorstep. It contained a map of the jungle and a message: only those who face their fears will reach the light. Zayan shared the experience with his friends Samir and Anaya. Samir, an adventure lover, eagerly agreed to join while Anaya hesitated. But seeing Zayan's determination, Anaya reluctantly joined as well. Together, they prepared for the journey, unaware that this would be more than just an adventure. It would test their emotions and inner strength. As they entered the jungle, a strange fear gripped their hearts. They faced their first puzzle. If you seek the light, you must first understand the dark. In front of them was a large stone. Engraved with their deepest fears, Zayan's biggest fear came to life. He was terrified he would never meet his parents' expectations. You'll never make it, he had often been told. The stone engraving read, understand your fear, only then can you move forward. Zayan realized that confronting his fear was the key to continuing the journey. Samir faced his inner demons. He realized his fear was hurting others with his jokes and careless attitude. The stone's engraving mirrored his guilt. Zayan and Anaya reassured him that it was not too late to change and he could make amends. Anaya's fear emerged next, being ridiculed for her dreams. Her aspirations were often mocked. The stone read, silence the words of others to overcome your fear. Anaya let go of the negativity and the stone's light cleared her mind. That night in the jungle was the hardest. Strange noises filled the air and a voice called, the darkness will test you. Are you worthy of the light? The three friends leaned on each other for support, anxiously waiting for the dawn. The next morning, they found a large temple with a massive door. The door could only open if they solved a riddle. Bring your emotions into the light, only then will the door open. Zayan bravely expressed his hidden fears and dreams, causing the door to slowly open. Inside the temple, they found an old book about the lunar eclipse and the power of its light. The book explained, the moonlight only reveals the way to those who confront their inner emotions. In the temple, a maze-like hall awaited them, filled with darkness. Each turn forced them to face past mistakes. Anaya faced her confidence issues. Zayan faced his parents' expectations, and they learned that only patience and belief in themselves would guide them forward. The trio reached a small lake, where a voice told them only one life can risk crossing. Without hesitation, Samir volunteered to cross first. He risked everything to ensure his friends could continue. As the water appeared to close in on him, he managed to survive and cross back. Inside the temple, a rival team appeared, eager to claim the light first. Aman led this group, offering shortcuts to Zayan's team, promising that together they could reach the light faster if they gave up their emotional journey. As Zayan, Samir, and Anaya ventured deeper into the jungle, they encountered another group, a rival team of explorers led by an individual named Aman. This team was determined to reach the light before Zayan's group, and they were prepared to use any means necessary to get there. The tension between the two groups was palpable. Aman's team, unlike Zayan's, seemed focused solely on power, money, and fame. They had no interest in the emotional journey, but were merely after the mystical light of the lunar eclipse for its rumored ability to grant extraordinary abilities. Zayan and his friends had no desire for such things. They only wanted the personal transformation that came from the journey. However, Arman and his group tried to sway them. Arman offered them shortcuts, telling them that they could bypass many of the trials and find the light quicker if they joined forces. He used words like, "This is a race to the top. The light will make you powerful. Forget about the emotional journey. Focus on the end goal." But Zion, Samir, and Anaya weren't easily persuaded. They knew that the true value of this quest lay not in the destination, but in the lessons learned along the way. As the two teams continued their journey, the rivalry began to escalate. Zion found himself questioning what it meant to truly succeed. Was it about reaching the light first? Or was it about learning to face one's deepest fears and emerging stronger? They pressed forward, determined not to be distracted by the promises of quick success. Part 14. The Mysterious Challenge. Soon after their encounter with Arman's team, Zayan, Samir, and Anaya came across a dense fog that seemed to trap them in its grip. The path forward was hidden, and all that lay ahead was a massive stone archway. At the top of the arch was an inscription that read, "To unlock the light, first unlock your mind. Only those who truly see will find the way." They stood there, confused and frustrated. The jungle around them seemed to press in as though it were alive and watching their every move. They tried walking through the arch, but the stone would not budge. Anaya, thinking about the meaning of the words, stepped back and closed her eyes. She realized that the message wasn't just about the path ahead, it was about letting go of their own preconceived notions of what the journey was supposed to be. It was about opening their minds to new perspectives. The three friends sat down in front of the arch, meditating quietly. The fog slowly began to lift, revealing the true nature of the path they had to take. The archway opened, but it wasn't a physical opening. Instead, it was a spiritual awakening, and they had passed the test simply by being still and listening to their inner thoughts. Part 15. Samir's Sacrifice. As they moved forward, they reached a river that seemed impossibly wide to cross. On the opposite shore, a bright light shone, and the path was clearly visible, but it was on the other side of the river. The only way to cross was by stepping onto large rocks that jutted out from the water, but the rocks were far apart, and the current was strong. A voice echoed across the water. One must sacrifice for the others to cross. One must risk everything to ensure the journey continues. They realized that the river was testing not their physical strength, but their willingness to sacrifice for each other. Samir, without hesitation, volunteered to cross first. He stepped onto the rocks, and though the water was cold and the current strong, he made it across. However, just as he was about to reach the other side, the stones began to crumble beneath his feet. The team on the other side shouted, urging Samir to hurry, but he had a different idea. Realizing that the rocks wouldn't hold much longer, he shouted back, "Go on without me! You must continue the journey. I'll find another way." Despite their protests, Samir stood firm. Zayan and Anaya, although reluctant, agreed that the only way to ensure the journey's success was to keep moving. Samir's sacrifice was not in vain. It proved that they could endure hardships for the greater good of the group. As Samir stepped into the river, prepared to swim back, the stones miraculously reformed and he was able to cross safely. The team on the other side pulled him up and they continued the journey, now with an even deeper understanding of the bond they shared. Part 16. The Emotional Battle. After crossing the river, they finally reached the heart of the jungle, a vast clearing where a large stone structure awaited them. This place felt strangely powerful, like it was infused with the essence of the journey so far. The air was thick with emotion. They could feel the weight of their fears and struggles in the atmosphere. Suddenly, Armin's group appeared, just as they had feared. They had followed them the entire time, and now they were ready to claim the prize. The two groups stood facing each other, both eager to reach the final light of the lunar eclipse. Arman stepped forward with a sneer. "You've made it this far, but it's too late. The light is mine, and I won't let anyone stand in my way." Zayan felt a surge of anger, but he quickly realized that fighting Arman's group wasn't the answer. Instead, he stepped forward and said, "We've all faced the same challenges, but we've learned something important along the way. This isn't about claiming power. It's about understanding ourselves." Arman scoffed, but Samir and Anaya joined Zayan. The three of them stood united, refusing to let Arman's ambition cloud the purpose of their journey. The rival group, seeing the strength of their conviction, tried to attack them emotionally, pushing them to give up. They mocked Samir for his sacrifice, Anaya for her insecurities, and Zayan for always trying to please others. But each time Zayan, Samir, and Anaya stood tall, they had learned to face their fears and had grown stronger. Instead of reacting with anger, they responded with understanding. They acknowledged the pain in their own hearts, but they also understood that no one else could define their worth. In the end, the rival team, unable to break their emotional strength, walked away defeated, their own insecurities weighing them down. The trio felt a sense of calm, knowing that the true light was not something to be claimed. It was something to be earned through emotional growth and self-acceptance. With Arman and his group retreating, Zayan, Samir, and Anaya stood before the grand stone door of the temple. The air had grown heavy, filled with anticipation as the last trial awaited them. The door was adorned with symbols, some familiar, others unrecognizable. A voice echoed through the temple saying, "The path to the light lies within. You must face the final test, one that will require the strength of your hearts." They stepped forward, but the door didn't open. The symbols glowed, reacting to their emotions, showing them visions of their past, their fears, regrets, and all they had left behind on this journey. Zayan saw himself as a child trying to fulfill his parents' dreams. Samir saw the faces of the people he had hurt with his careless words. Anaya saw her past failures, the times when she had given up on her dreams. The door remained shut. They realized they needed to face their past fully without fear. Each of them had to say aloud what they had learned from their journey and what they had forgiven in themselves. With each confession, the door began to open slowly. As the stone door finally creaked open, they entered a large chamber filled with radiant light, but the light wasn't from any source. It emanated from within them. The light was their own growth, their strength, their acceptance of their fears, and the love they had learned to give themselves. In the center of the chamber was a small pedestal with an ancient crystal. The crystal glowed, pulsing with energy. Zayan stepped forward first and placed his hand on it. A surge of emotion swept over him, and for the first time, he understood. The light wasn't a power or treasure, it was enlightenment, the clarity that comes with self-awareness. One by one, Samir and Anaya joined him, feeling the same rush of understanding. The crystal reflected their journey, and each time they touched it, the chamber filled with a stronger, brighter light, one that symbolized their transformation. As the light grew brighter, Zayan felt a sense of peace wash over him. The battle, the struggles, the fears, they all faded away, replaced by a deep understanding of his true self. He realized that success wasn't about meeting others' expectations, but about fulfilling his own potential. Samir too understood that his humor and carelessness had been his way of hiding his vulnerabilities. Now he could use his strength to heal and help others. Anaya realized that her dreams were not foolish and that the struggles she faced only made her more determined to succeed. They left the temple not with a treasure, but with the wisdom to change their lives and those around them. The moon had begun to rise, casting its gentle light over them, symbolizing the end of one journey and the beginning of another. Back in their hometown, everything seemed different. The air felt lighter, the world around them brighter. Zayan looked at the people he had once feared and saw them through new eyes. He no longer felt the pressure to meet others' expectations. He had found his own path. Samir, once the joker, now used his humor to bring people together. He started volunteering to help children, teaching them how to express themselves without fear. Anaya found the courage to start her own business, something she had always dreamed of but never dared to try. The lessons of the jungle stayed with them, reminding them daily to face their emotions, overcome their fears, and live authentically. Zayan, Samir, and Anaya understood that the journey of self-growth was never truly finished. They knew that they would face new challenges, personal, professional, and emotional, but they also knew that they had the strength to handle them. They came together one last time to reflect on how far they had come and how their fears no longer controlled them. Each of them had found their own light, and together they knew they could light the way for others. The three friends decided to share their experiences with others. They began hosting workshops to help people confront their inner fears and find their own paths to success. Their message was clear. Success didn't mean perfection. It meant progress, facing struggles and growing stronger with each step. People from all walks of life attended, seeking the answers to their own fears and dreams. Zayan, Samir, and Anaya became symbols of hope, showing others that no one was alone in their journey. Zayan, Samir, and Anaya sat together one evening, looking at the stars, reflecting on how far they had come. They realized that the greatest gift of all was the legacy they were leaving behind, the legacy of inner strength, self-acceptance, and emotional resilience. The moonlight above them reminded them of the journey that had transformed their lives. Success is not about what you achieve, but about who you become, Zayan said, looking at his friends. And the greatest success is helping others find their own light. Life's darkness troubles everyone, but only a few face their fears and reach the light. What about you? If this story inspired you, share it with those who are struggling with the weight of their emotions. Maybe it could change their lives too.